Rochester Common Council, October 28th, 2025 meeting. Start out the approval of last meeting's minutes. And if you were not present at last meeting, please do not sign when it gets passed through.
I make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And your sign is and pass those through. While she's doing that, do you have any communications, Beth?
Yes, I wanted to talk about that email that I sent to you all regarding not printing out all these papers every meeting. So we would be willing to buy tablets so that you can access your emails so you can see them here. We used almost 3 reams of paper trying to do this, and it took somebody like 3 hours to try and copy them all. So we
Don't we have a bunch of tablets?
No, we have 3 little laptops that are ThinkPads that don't. I don't think they really work, but so.
Because that's what I have at home, and it works fine. The screen's kind of small, but it works.
No, I know, but I mean, that's not the point. They don't, we had them cleaned up and they don't. We have some, I just don't think they all work. So it just depends on if people have their own laptops they can bring. And we would have 1 copy for everybody to sign, the copy that Amy has.
I print mine at the library. I like the printed copies, so I just print mine at the library. So I usually have a trash pile to recycle.
Yes,
anyway.
it's just, I checked with other clerk treasurers and like vast majority do not print out all the pages. But they have them accessing some electronic device. So I said we could, if you have your own laptop like Andy Perkins does, to use it. But if you just let me know, because we're killing so many trees.
Does everyone here have a laptop that they receive their emails on from the city? Have your own personal? Other than your
I
phone.
can see it on, I do it at home, on my computer at home.
I mean, it's either that or they can bring their own in, correct, and follow.
Right, but I'm getting the feeling that nobody has their own.
I mean,
I can use,
3 people. Yeah, she uses her phone.
if I need it here.
can use this.
I can.
I don't need a laptop to read the emails.
Right, but it's gonna have all these attachments. Can you see all these on your phone? Well, that's fine.
I mean, if you can, I'll leave it this way. If you definitely want printed copies, let her know. If you can do it electronically, that would be great. So does that make sense? If we, no, you want everybody to do it electronically no matter what?
Amy wants to have hers printed
I
out.
just print mine at the library because I like to make notes and highlight. I
know, I
That
understand.
work,
but
and
it's
everybody's
just
gonna be
so much
electronic
paper.
unless you make the effort to print yours off at your place of business or something?
the library is easy.
Is
to do.
that okay?
Okay,
Yeah,
all right, we can do that.
But Beth, if there's additional things that you don't send,
right, that I would do copies of those.
Yes,
Yes,
just to have
good
that.
point. for putting that
Yep.
in. Yeah, things that come in at the last minute, I'll run copies of for everybody to have, but
just to kind of do a quick glance that
because we're gonna have a lot more when we have that general obligation bond, it'll be like this thick. And so rather than trying to print out 10 copies of it.
All of that stuff's really good. The only thing that I've like really enjoyed having a hard copy of was like for the water increases and that, when that whole charts, the charts that were
And
made.
we can make that decision on.
Yeah, because there were people that asked me.
Yeah.
And
That's what I'm
it
thinking, you know,
shut them up. It
there are
quieted
certain
them down,
things-
answered their questions for me to be able to have that to show them.
The vast majority of these things are, don't take offense, Scott, are just legal, large.
Mumbo jumbo.
Scott, I said that earlier, but I still.
But if we have charts or, you know, something like really we need, like the budget. when we-
Right, yeah.
That kind of thing, so.
A very small percentage of the population that can understand it.
I read almost word for word what you write, except for when you repeat.
So, okay, I appreciate that. We'll.
Okay,
So,
all right.
okay,
Okay, so we need a motion to open the public hearing for petition of voluntary annexation.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Okay.
And I'll turn it over to you, Scott.
Thank you and good evening, council. My name is Scott Frizzell and I'm an attorney with Creek DeVault. We are serving as special counsel for this voluntary annexation. So tonight is the first reading and public hearing for ordinance number 26-2025, an ordinance of the city of Rochester, Indiana, annexing certain territory and declaring the same to be part of the city. So attached to that ordinance, there's maps showing the 5 parcels that are being annexed. Those 5 parcels consist of approximately 194.37 acres. They're all owned by the Strader family, and the annexation petition was signed by the family. The annexation territory is contiguous to the corporate boundaries of the city, and the current zoning of these parcels is HC Highway Commercial and AG Agricultural. So tonight, again, we will be holding a public hearing to see if there's any remonstrance regarding this annexation. And then we'll be proceeding on November 25th to adopt a fiscal plan for this annexation, which Baker Tilly is preparing. And then we will adopt the ordinance. And then following that, there will be a 30-day waiting period before the annexation will become finalized. So that will become finalized in early January 2026. I'd also like to confirm for the record that the proper notice of tonight's public hearing was published in the Rochester Centennial on October 1st, 2025. So at this time, I'm happy to answer any questions.
I'll answer a question. I don't know if you noticed, but we left the New Holland dealership out of it. The reason for that is their property taxes are gonna skyrocket if we put them in, and Matt had some problem with that, and I don't blame him. They are going to be hooking into at least our sewer system that we run out there, the water maybe at some point, but like I said, I'd rather pay a 15% increase in my sewer price than I would pay the outlandish cost of property tax increase on that. So I was fine with that. I think all of you would be fine with that. So that's why that's left out. And of course, we left out Jim and Melinda's homestead as well. Do we move on to the ordinance within the public hearing? It's listed inside the public hearing, or do we have to close the public hearing and then do the first reading?
Yeah, typically we would close the public hearing. So I'd first see if anyone has any comments or
Okay.
questions.
Is there any public comment to this effect? Okay. Then we need a motion to close the public hearing. Move to second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Now if we can have the first reading of ordinance 26-2025.
At that moment. Okay, ordinance number 26-2025. An ordinance of the city of Rochester, Indiana, annexing certain territory and declaring the same to be a part of the city.
Okay, and we will have the second and third reading next meeting on November 25th.
Yes, that's correct.
And there'll be the fiscal plan.
There will be a fiscal plan, yes.
I like reading those.
Okay, now we are, and you're gonna be coming back up shortly.
Thank you.
So, old business, Beth, you have resolution 30-2025.
Yes, this is the final budget that gets submitted to the DLGF. And it's basically the exact same thing as I showed you last month, and we just have to put it in resolution form. It spits out this little form, it's all the numbers in it for you, so I don't even really have to check and make sure they're right, but they are. So I need to have you guys sign that and approve it.
So, okay. So we need a motion to approve this resolution.
I make that motion.
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor, raise your right hand. I can't vote, but I was giving you a signal to raise your right hand. All approved. So, Amy, can you sign that and send it forth?
And this has to be submitted tomorrow, correct, Beth?
Yes. Everyone it's accepted, like it's been signed by
Make sure you mark
a
your.
member of the council and a mayor.
Got it covered.
So. And we do not want to have to spend next year with no budget. Send it back there.
Heather, you wanna come on up and get ready? You're gonna do your thing from there.
Just have the chart that you guys should have received in your email, so. So you all should have received the chart of proposed amendment. I've recommended to change in the ordinance. You want me to read all through them or you have any questions? Go ahead and take them on. All of them except the Niona Lake rezone is the only one that doesn't affect the city of Rochester. Everything else, would be part of your zoning ordinance.
You gonna have to do one?
You have any questions on this?
Voting process?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a highway, commercial, industrial.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. I heard the resolution.
Do what?
The resolution is passed. It's resolution number 362025.
Yeah.
And you don't have to read it, it's just the resolution.
Does anybody have any questions or can we go ahead and vote, approve this? So we need a motion to approve this.
I make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded to approve resolution number 36-2025. All in favor, raise your right hand. All approved. Motion passed. You got the signature fate. You putting a date on this, Beth, when it comes to you?
Yeah. I have to sign.
These will be effective January 1, as long as all the other legislative bodies don't have any issues. I mean, yours will be effective January 1 anyway, but all the amendments be effective January 1. But I do have another quick question, or two more things real quick. Beth, can you send me when they do the annexation, can you send me the approval with the boundaries?
Mhm.
Matt Campbell was in the office today and he wanted to know when the map was going to be updated, which I have it updated on my end. It's just
Okay.
a later.
Okay.
It's the,
Oh, you're on Jess.
yeah, so.
Did you get the other ones that we've done?
The only one I've drawn in is Black Earth.
Okay, so
Yeah, if you want to
Okay.
just make yourself a note and just include me on those emails when you guys approve those annexations.
Okay.
Please. And then I talked to Brent a couple weeks ago that Paul Zartman will be resigning from the board, so we find another board member to be a council appointee,
Yep.
so.
It will be a council appointee, so if you have anybody in mind that could serve on the BZA, city BZA,
City BZA and his term will be up January 1, so. Months. That is all I have.
yeah, we need to have somebody. We don't have to do it next month, but certainly by December, we gotta approve somebody.
Yeah, if you get someone in mind, you can have them give me a call and I'll kind of talk them through what their role is in the board.
Do you have a specific, like, type of person with certain skill sets that you're looking for, or just a willing and able body?
Willing and able body that will come to the meetings because it's getting hard to find board members. I finally have a full board on the county and then one of them is resigning after January, so now I'm back down to 4. So yeah, it's hard to find. I mean, it has the time, so.
All right, Scott, resolution 32-2025.
Okay, so the next two items are for the Manitou Crossing and Rochester Crossing volunteer annexation. The first one is resolution number 32-2025, a resolution of the city of Rochester, Indiana, adopting a fiscal plan for the annexation of certain territory into the city. Again, this annexation territory includes two parcels, which consist of approximately 65.46 acres. So attached to this resolution is a fiscal plan that Baker Tilly prepared. That fiscal plan is required by Indiana law for any annexation, and it goes through what the anticipated fiscal impact is to the city from annexing these parcels and addresses any capital and non-capital costs that the city would incur. So non-capital would be such as police, fire protection, streets, and road maintenance. And this fiscal plan identifies that there's no anticipated fiscal impact from annexing these two parcels. And again, with the capital improvements, this would be such as water, roads, utilities, infrastructure that has to be improved for this area. And again, there's no fiscal impact because those would be incurred by the developer for these parcels. This plan also reviews whether there's any outstanding indebtedness owed by the township, and it identifies that there is no outstanding indebtedness that the city would assume. And so again, the fiscal plan concludes that there is no impact to the city from completing this annexation. I'm happy to answer any questions.
This is just a question that probably is a legalese thing,
Okay.
but so I read where it said no fiscal impact, no fiscal impact, no fiscal impact, but then it says, city will provide the capital services to the annexation area no later than 3 years after the effective date. And then it goes through water service, wastewater service, those things. So basically we're not going to be spending money to bring these services. The developer will accrue those.
We're really not talking about developing. We're just talking about the annexation process.
That's
Correct, but
all we're talking about right now.
Any development that comes in, everything is subject to spending money possibly.
So we're gonna negotiate those things later. Right now, we're just saying at this point of annexation, there's no plan for expending any capital.
Correct. So the statute requires us to identify anything that we would incur. And so right now there is no plans to pay for any of those
And the
improvements.
3-year piece is just there for.
Yeah, the statute says you have to identify what would be paid for in 3
in
years
3 years.
as
Okay.
of.
I just
like, what
wanted to
we're
ask that
identifying
question. I've
today.
read that a million times in all your documents that you
Yeah.
put together and I've never, I think I've asked it multiple times, but I
I
want to
actually
ask it again, just.
Yes.
Kind of with Amy, because I kept seeing all those no fiscal impacts, but I'm sitting here thinking, okay, it's gonna have some tax rate impact, and it actually talks about that on page 12. So how is that not any,
There's currently no tax impact because the parcels are assessed as agricultural land.
Okay.
And so when ag land is annexed into a municipality, it retains the county's tax rate until there's development.
Okay.
So these parcels will not generate any tax for the city until there's a change in the classification for assessment
And
purposes.
that's when you're negotiating with the
Well,
developer.
and our objective
So,
in annexing this land and the other land is so that we can TIF those acres or TIF those areas. So then we can afford to deal with infrastructure
calculating, assess that.
when we have investment coming in.
Correct, yes.
Okay, that's what I thought, but I just like to say that out loud, to
Yep.
hear it
I
out
just
loud
wanted to
again.
be sure.
So
I do it. But you, on
Yes.
the annexation plan, page 3. You know, current land use and zoning. Says agricultural land, but currently general commercial, that's should be agricultural.
So it's still assessed as agricultural, but the zoning was revised at some point to allow for general commercial.
Okay.
But it's still being assessed as
But you know,
ag.
that seemed like you're.
Yeah.
You're changing it, but I didn't know if it was small.
Uh-huh. Yeah, so I mean, the developers may ask for different zoning when they propose their plans for development, but right now it is zoned general commercial.
So like special exception, so we could, basically, they could come to us and say they wanted to rezone it to the general commercial.
This is the Manitou Crossing and Rochester Crossing.
It's ag, but no, it is general commercial.
But there's nothing on it, so it's being assessed as ag.
Okay.
It is zone general commercial.
Okay, so we need a resolution or need a vote to approve resolution 32-2025.
Second, Mark, you say.
Mark seconded.
Yep.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor, raise your right hand. Approved. Okay, now you can take us into the ordinance, Scott.
So ordinance 21-2025 is an ordinance of the city of Rochester, Indiana, annexing certain territory and declaring the same to be a part of the city. And so this is again for the two parcels we discussed, consisting of 65.46 acres. This is the final step in the annexation approval process, the adoption of this ordinance. Following tonight's meeting, there will be a 30-day waiting period before we would record notice of this ordinance and record the ordinance with the county. And then the ordinance and annexation would be completed in early December. So at this time, I'm happy to answer any questions. But again, this is the final step in the annexation of these two parcels.
We did the first reading last month.
Mhm.
So you want to take care of the second and third?
All right, and so we'll have the second reading of ordinance number 2125 by title only. Any objections? No objections? Okay, ordinance number 21-2025, an ordinance of the city of Rochester, Indiana, annexing certain territory and declaring the same to be a part of the city. Okay, at this time, we'll have the third reading of ordinance number 21-2025 by title only. Ordinance number 21-2025, an ordinance of the city of Rochester, Indiana, annexing certain territory and declaring the same to be a part of the city.
Need a motion to approve that ordinance?
Second.
All in favor, raise your right hand. Approved. Okay, Scott?
Okay, this is the fun one. So this is a bond ordinance dealing with the Rochester general obligation bonds.
There should be two that are just Trent and Beth and Brian.
Resolution, ordinance, we need signature for everybody. That's not on this. You got a resolution signature for ordinance.
Let me check and confirm.
Which one are you doing?
21. You passed it, but the signature page.
I have a signature page if you'd like one, but it has hole punches.
It's not attached?
There was a signature page for you and
Brian and I.
Brian and Trent.
Okay, but I think that's,
Brian, when I usually draft resolutions, I draft the signature pages like ordinances, but you don't have to do that. You can certainly do resolutions with just the signature providing the presiding officer. And a lot of communities do that. So I think Scott, you drafted that resolution. Well, actually, I think both, you have signature pages of just presiding officer and the attestation, which is fine. It's valid. I like to do it that way just so that someone can look back and if there's some question about the vote to see them. But I don't think we need to stop it and change the signature page. That would be valid.
So, okay. Going forward, we'll make sure to include.
Yes, yeah, it's different. You're right.
Okay, ordinance 33-2025.
Thank you, Mayor. So this is a long ordinance title, so bear with me. So ordinance number 33-2025 is an ordinance of the Common Council of the City of Rochester, Indiana, authorizing the issuance of general obligation bonds for the purpose of providing funds to pay the cost of purchasing certain property and local municipal public improvement projects within the city, providing for the payment of such bonds from an ad valorem taxes to be levied upon all of the taxable property located in the city, providing for the safeguarding of the interests of the owners of said bonds, appropriating the proceeds derived from the sale of such bonds and other matters connected therewith, including repealing ordinances inconsistent herewith. So that was a long title, and it's a long ordinance, but this ordinance authorizes the city to issue its general obligation bonds, Series 2025. Those bonds will be issued in an amount not to exceed 2.8 million with an interest rate not to exceed 7% and a term not to exceed 11 years. As the title said, the bonds will be paid from an ad valorem property taxes. So these would be a general obligation of the city to repay the debt during the 10-year payment term. The proceeds of the GO bonds will be used by the city in connection with separate and independent local public improvement projects within the city, consisting of certain land acquisition costs, water, wastewater, and stormwater and road improvements, and engineering cost. Indiana Code 364619 authorizes the city to issue these GO bonds to pay for those local public improvement projects. And this ordinance goes through and adopts the statutory findings that these projects will be a public utility and benefit to the city. It determines that the total cost of each independent project to be financed by the city is less than $6,306,760. and that the city's total debt service tax rate will not exceed 25 cents. And the purposes for outlining that is the controlled project threshold, which requires certain additional steps to be taken with the issuance of the bonds. So these projects are all below that, and so we don't have to go through the referendum and other public approval process for this ordinance for the bond issuance. This ordinance also finds that the city does not have sufficient funds available to provide for these projects. And so it's authorizing the issuance again of bonds not to exceed $2.8 million to finance these projects. And then it also determines that these GEO bonds are subject to the city's constitutional debt limit. And it addresses that debt limit, which is 2% of 1/3 of the total net assessed value of the city. That amount is $420,163,614. And so the city is authorized to issue debt up to $2,801,091. And so we're issuing it right up to that total amount, which Tim Foster from Baker Tilly is here, so he can talk through the reasoning for the numbers. The ordinance, as I mentioned, pledges the city's ad valorem property taxes to the payment of these GEO bonds. And so these bonds are backed by the full faith and credit of the city and payable from those ad valorem taxes. And the city covenants to levy a tax rate sufficient to pay debt service on these bonds. This ordinance finally appropriates the proceeds of the bonds so that you can receive the proceeds and use them to carry out the projects outlined on Exhibit A, which Exhibit A is just a general reference of what the anticipated projects are. As part of the sale of these bonds, the city is currently planning on applying, or it did apply today to the Indiana Bond Bank through its Community Funding Resources or CFR program, for the bond bank to purchase these bonds. The bond bank board will be meeting on Wednesday, November 19th to determine whether to approve the purchase of these bonds. And if approved, we will close on the bond financing on Friday, December 12th. The next steps for the approval process will include publishing a notice of public hearing on the additional appropriation of the bond proceeds, which I will submit for publication by November 12th. We'll then proceed to hold that public hearing and approve the bond ordinance at the November 25th council meeting. So at this time, I'm happy to answer any questions. I know it's a long ordinance, so I apologize, but it outlines a lot of different roles and responsibilities for the bond issuance.
So I've heard the county do the GO bonds all the time. So I have been paying attention, but just want to make sure that I understand the details. And I know that did we account for this in the budget? Because I remember that discussion being part of that. So how does that impact the tax? When you say the ad valorem and tax rate, is it increasing a tax rate? No.
Well, it excludes, the debt service is not included in the calculation of the tax rates. No levies.
I defer to your municipal
Okay.
advisor.
Sorry.
Tim, I'm sorry. I forgot to put your name in the
That would be,
agenda.
yeah, I just want to
Tim Foster
understand
would
how
be
that
too.
impacts like because I know that we had pre-prepared and planned for this. I just want to see.
Yeah. So it didn't affect the tax and the levies. And the DLGF, it's home rule. They don't do that. Ad valorem is different than property taxes,
Okay.
correct?
Ad valorem is it's a levy based on the assessed value.
It's not coming from property.
These bonds are paid from the property taxes of the city, but as Tim will mention, it's based on keeping your rate.
Okay, got it.
Good evening, Tim Foster with Baker Tilly Municipal Advisors. We serve as the municipal advisor to the city. If you look at page 2, this will explain a bit how the GEO bonds will work. So you'll see between 2025 and 2026, the city's AV went up about almost 16%. Per how the state works, so you can only grow your levy by 4%, the major growth levy quotient. So that means there's an opportunity to capture the growth of GEO bonds and keep your tax rate level so the tax rate won't go up for the city. That is how the bonds are structured. So if you look at page 4, page 3, we'll see the existing tax rate 2025. It's 0.9081. If you did nothing, the tax rate would drop to 0.8415. To fill in that tax rate, we have structured the bonds. You will see on page 7. Sorry to jump around a bit, but most of the other things are just legal things that Scott's already touched on. And as you can see, the bonds are set to fill in the tax rate, so it will still drop a little bit And then each year the rate is going down a little bit. And it's structured to get the 2.8 million, which is the debt limit for the city.
Is that the one that you sent me today?
Yes,
Like that.
they're both in draft until we get the final numbers. So yeah, it's the same numbers I sent you. This year, it's been pretty common through a lot of cities of your guys' size to do this, to be able to gain capital, to fund capital projects, because AVs went up a lot because the state changed cost tables. So NAVs went up. This is probably a one-time thing, so I don't foresee your AVs going up 15% each time. And plus with SCA one, chances of NAVs going up go down. So this is sort of a really good opportunity to fund some capital projects that otherwise probably wouldn't be able to fund.
All these projects are done prior to really any secured investment in any one of these areas. So even if we had, I mean, even if we had stuff established in TIFT right now, we still couldn't finance anything of our initial work because we haven't got the investments nailed down, even though we know they're coming. So in order to do so much over such a broad area in the city, we pursued this. And from here on out, as we've talked, when we have to do more in those specific areas, it will be TIFT. We'll have the investment nailed down, and then we can do a TIF bond if we need to further the infrastructure.
And that replaces the green bond. So this
It
still
won't
bond is
replace it.
almost.
It won't replace it, will it? I mean, it's just gonna be, it'll be an additional project that will be financed by a TIF bond.
Yeah, because assuming then without the TIF is the but without TIF you must meet the but for test. So like that project wouldn't occur without the money generated from the TIF to fund the project. So that'd be all the new investment would be captured as TIF, and that's what would pay for it.
Right. Okay, any questions? Do you have anything else to add unless we have a question for you?
No, it's got touched on everything else in this. Most of the other pages are pretty much about the controlled project thresholds and the debt limit, which are all in the bond ordinance.
So basically, this is just to assist in between when their assessed value increases and we can capture the TIF. And then there'll be things that we need to incur cost on, so we can use this to be
Well,
able to do
for
that.
instance, this Rochester Crossing extension of that road, we got $200,000 that has to be paid to an engineer to do the work on it before we can, in the next 6 months. So you have a lot of upfront costs to a lot of these projects before you can actually attract or nail down an investment. Well, we don't have the cash to pay for these upfront costs.
So this is a way to
This is the way to finance those.
Makes sense.
And the other thing I like is it holds our tax rate. Like you said, it's a great tool.
Level. And it's the only way, again, you can capture any more funds for the city because your levy can't grow because of the state law. So it's the only tool you have to get additional proceeds right now. Fund infrastructure projects you're looking at.
So if there's not any further questions, we can go ahead and do the first reading of this ordinance.
Yeah. All right, introduction of ordinance number 33-2025. We'll begin with the first reading by title only. An ordinance of the Common Council of the City of Rochester, Indiana, authorizing the issuance of general obligation bonds for the purpose of providing funds to pay the cost of purchasing certain property and local municipal public improvement projects within the city. Providing for the payment of such bond from ad valorem taxes to be levied upon all of the taxable property located in the city. Providing for the safeguarding of the interests of the owners of said bonds, appropriating the proceeds derived from the sale of such bonds, other matters connected therewith, including repealing ordinances inconsistent herewith.
Okay. We will have the second and third reading at our November 25th meeting. Do you have any more that you need to deal with, Scott or Tim?
All on my list.
Okay, well, you guys can head out if you like.
All right, thank you very much.
Thanks so much, appreciate it. Okay, Beth.
Okay, It's the annual resolution for the salaries, the city of Rochester. A lot of this was all in the budget, but we had to put it in a format like this, showing what everybody's getting paid and vacations, and the vacations didn't change. The base rates did not change for beginning positions. We've set a grid or matrix where every year there's a 25-cent increase for the non-exempt employees. So that's in here. Basically, that other than some of the salaries and the people getting a quarter each, which was all in the budget, there's really not any other changes. Was there, Jane, that we need to point out from the prior years? We did change the format so that it made it easier to read.
I like it.
We were having trouble ourselves reading it. I did want to point out on the insurance, I don't have any place to do it, but we converted to the AIM Medical Trust, in July of last year. And this year we received a November premium holiday, which we saved $39,000 on the premium for the month by moving to the AIM Trust. They spread their risk over, it's like 70 municipalities now. So it's a lot more people than just a small little group. So
I mean, originally we saved 80 or 90,000 in premiums, plus offered a better package to our employees.
Right. Yeah.
Then we got a holiday this year,
Nice.
additional, so,
Question real quick, probably the way I'm reading it. So the city will cover 100% of the medical premiums for the employee, but not the employee's spouse,
Not the medical, but they cover.
but for the
100%
dental vision. Okay, that's what I wanted to, that's what I was reading. So I said out loud. So
yes, we need a motion to approve resolution number 34-2025.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Brian Fitzwater seconded. All in favor, raise your right hand. Approved. Got the super rating. Yesterday, I sent all of you, hope you had a chance to read it, kind of a description of what a BOT is, build, operate, transfer. I had a meeting a couple weeks ago with a guy who's done many of them over the state of Indiana. It's just nothing more than a tool. I don't know if it's specifically for road projects. It can also be for buildings or whatever, but in this case, we had a discussion concerning road work. There are times, and we are fortunate in this community to have a company like E&B in our backyard that we trust, that we know will do a good job and will give us a good deal. And sometimes you can avoid with this, if you want to use this on a road project, you can avoid the bidding process, which sometimes it's hard to explain why you don't want to use the low bidder. It's sometimes hard to justify. This doesn't happen very often, but it did happen to us once already. But we had justification of not using them in that case. But this is just a tool to put in your toolbox, as hopefully you had a chance to read through that. This would actually give, and Andy, correct me, the Board of Works pretty well makes those decisions on road projects. So this would give the Board of Works a tool to use other than going through the normal bidding process. Like, anything more to add to that?
In my research, I likened it to the difference between being your own general contractor and hiring a general contractor. When we do in traditional requests for sealed bids or things like that, we're responsible for determining all the specifications in the bid. Now, we might consult with an engineer or someone to do that. But some of these projects, you don't know what you don't know. And so it can be useful, instead of just saying, we need this type of work from someone, please quote us a price. It's useful to work with a developer who can say, well, what if you hire me to develop the project? In other words, you're buying really more of a service and their background of knowledge, and you're working through them. So what's in front of you is just a resolution that allows the city to do that. There's still a public request for proposals and qualifications. But the mayor's right that sometimes if the traditional backstop against the irresponsible low bidder was something called responsible and responsive. How do you prove they're not responsible and responsive? This also injects kind of another test, allows the developer to say, listen, you know, this one contractor that could provide a component to this project, we can say as an experienced developer, we had problems with them in the past. You know, that's something that's hard to inject as a factor in traditional bidding. So that it allows the development and a lot of the decisions to be made in a different way. It still complies with the statute, but the name of that section of the law is public-private partnerships. So this falls under that, and the adoption is just a prerequisite. This doesn't commit us to, frankly, ever using it, but it allows the Board of Works to just find an alternate way than doing everything as a traditional sealed bid and then running the risk of an irresponsible bidder and not adequately having a record of that, because you can rely on more experiential things from a developer.
If I understood correctly from Greg Martz, who I spoke with, it would also take away change orders because it would all
Yes.
it would all fall on the contractor until underneath the price that you've agreed upon. So it streamlines it, especially when you have a relationship. And I just used E&B as an example. It could be any contractor, but it's kind of the way I've always done business on my farm. It's once you establish a relationship and trust with a company, this gives you the opportunity to work directly with that company. Now, when we do CCMG grants, we have to have an engineer. There's other times we don't have to have an engineer and pay that expense. And this will be an opportunity to use that in those cases. So I think in the long run, it'll give us opportunity to save some money on some projects. Like I said, just put another tool in our toolbox to use as we see fit for each project. But so anybody have any questions further?
I'm sorry, I always have questions. And just the operate side of things. So I've researched this build, operate, transfer multiple times. So when you're thinking about a road, so build, that's easy, but the operate part of that, the 10 to 25 years, like when you're operating, how does that work for a road or something that's not like a public utility, as far as like a wastewater facility, like the operate side of things?
I think that side of it would look very different.
Okay.
I mean, I think
It's dependent upon the project.
yeah, depending upon project.
Okay.
I don't see a scenario where the city of Rochester allows a developer to privately operate.
Because it's not a toll road or something
right.
like that. So that's why I'm trying to wrap my brain
I
around.
don't see us,
like,
no, I don't see us going.
I say they operate more in the construction phase of the thing, not the actual operation of the
Of
thing.
the actual
Same
thing.
with
So
the building.
operating the project within itself.
When you do a building BOT, they don't really ever operate the building. The operation is the construction of the
Of
building.
the actual thing.
Yeah.
Okay. So
So- Need a motion to approve resolution 31-2025.
Second.
Martin, Brian, all in favor, raise your right hand. Thank you. Okay, ordinance 35-2025. We're looking at McDonald Drive, so we realized we hadn't ever done something formal on Apache or Peachtree. The speed limit posted on Apache and Peachtree is 25 mile per hour. Dwayne and I agree that it should be 25 on McDonald Drive all the way through, and those signs will be posted next day or two. That drive is scheduled to be open as soon as we do the ribbon cutting at 1 o'clock on Friday. The entrance, I might add, to Walmart was poured today, and we'll need about a week to cure before we can actually open the entrance. And then I think Landon's still got the sidewalk to do on the south side of that McDonald Drive within hopefully the next couple weeks maybe, or okay. But anyway, back to the speed limits. We need to formally adopt the ones out of Apache and Peachtree. That potentially could change. I mean, we'll see what Collins would recommend once they get the housing all built out there, they may want to back that off to 15. But we'll deal with that later. But so we need to adopt this ordinance, and if
We can do all three tonight.
I would like to do all three tonight.
All right, introduction of ordinance number 35-2025. We'll begin with the first reading by title only. Ordinance number 35-2025, an ordinance modifying speed limits. Okay, so this is the first reading of ordinance. If there are no objections to having a second reading also by title only, we will now have the second reading. Okay, ordinance number 35-2025, an ordinance modifying speed limits. Okay, so this time we'll have a third reading of the ordinance by title only, as long as no objections. Okay, ordinance number 35-2025, an ordinance modifying speed limits.
Okay, I need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, raise your right hand. Beth, do you want to explain the resolution 37-202?
That, so apparently you needed to put McDonald and Apache on there, or Apache and Peachtree.
Are all three of those 25 miles per hour? Okay, thank you.
Beth, you want to explain the next resolution, I assume?
Yes. In March, we signed an ordinance regarding the pilot for the Chamberlain House developing. And in there, it said that the, her treasurer would open a special fund. And so I saw that little reminder. And so I contacted Scott and he said, we really don't have to because the council already had approved the ordinance, but in trying not to make it State Board of Accounts upset that I didn't get council approval to open a fund, especially one in this situation. It's has to be a separate fund on its own, and everything is specific purpose to coming out of that fund and track it. So I decided that we probably should pass a resolution establishing the Housing Pilot Fund. And we'd have a separate bank account that we can use, and then we don't have to worry about that. This one and the other housing grant that we're talking about, been there for a long time, like since 1993. It's got a separate fund number also, so we can keep track of which fund spends what out of that account. So it's perfect.
Okay, so pretty much a formality. So need a motion to approve resolution 37-2025. Brian and Ruth, all in favor, raise your right hand. Any other new business? Okay. Boys.
Pre-event public service, 3 inspections, 2 gas leaks, 1 burning county, 1 rescue, 1 public service, 5 runs. It is 625 for the year so far. Equipment, we're currently demoing a used combination spreader cutter. That's the basically the job like. We have an old one on engine 1. Training, we had held the detector blitz on Fulton Street. I believe we passed out 21 smoke detectors that night and installed them for people. Been using the park house here, I think the first 2 weeks of the month. We had about 10 good training sessions in it. Throughout the month of October was fire prevention. We also had a smoke detector fundraiser to help pay for those. We raised $1,950 this year. So those detectors we pass out don't cost the city anything. Then down at the bottom is the schedule of all the fire prevention stuff we've had all month long that is still ongoing.
Thanks. Anything else? Any questions for TJ? Good shot.
For the month of September, you got my report. I'll just go over it quickly. 27 accidents. 137 1, 88 offenses, 23 lockouts, 243 traffic stops. 42 case reports, 866 incidents, and 20 people incarcerated. And then you have the crimes that were allowed for. Other than that, we've got Evo training today and tomorrow out at the airport. And then we've got our night shoot next Monday night after the time change.
Any questions for Andy? Okay, Dwayne.
For the street department, it's been busy here lately with, all the construction projects we've had going on. Just an update, again, McDonald Drive, we're having a final walkthrough tomorrow and then the ribbon cutting on Friday at 1. 4th Street, we are improving the, sidewalks on the north side between Main Street and railroad tracks, all the sidewalk. And also some stormwater adjustments to try and get some of the stormwater issues on 4th Street rectified. And then repaving of 4th Street will begin tomorrow and should be done by the end of the day. And also in that, we've fixed the large hump we have at the railroad tracks after they had done their improvements this summer. So that'll be corrected as well. At City Park, which is Belcher Circle, they were supposed to finish the paving of the street today. And that paving also included improving the parking areas. We've added parking areas and they'll all be paved, marked, and we'll have parking blocks as we get the project finished up. That'll hopefully will rectify some of the parking issues we've had and also clean things up and make it just look better. Other things going on, we have had Michiana Contracting replace all the traffic signals downtown with LED units. We've had some maintenance issues with some of the lights over the years, and we're hoping that will take care of those, and they're also brighter so you can see them in the daylight better. Bulk leaf pickup started this month and will run through the end of November. Every season is different. Right now, it looks like we still have a lot of green trees, so it could cause us to have to go beyond the end of November, but that will be, we'll make that decision as we get closer to that date to see where we're at. We want to try to get as many leaves picked up as possible. And also, along those same lines, we have already ordered a new, a second large leaf machine like the yellow one that you may have seen us have, that has an operator that rides on the machine. It just makes things more efficient. We can get more leaves picked up. And with that machine, and we will retire 3 machines that we'll use on trade-in. So we're going to go from 5 machines down to 2 big ones. At the parks, the house that the park purchased is ready to tear down. The contractor has his equipment in place. That'll probably start this week. And as TJ mentioned, the fire department used that for training the last couple of weeks, and the police department also utilized it for some training. So we did get some good use out of it while we had it. And the bathrooms were just winterized yesterday, so our park season is pretty much done for the year. And that's all I have. Unless you have any questions.
The Belcher Circle, when will that become a one-way?
So once the contractor's done with all their part of it, we still have some road signs to put up, and it will go in effect once we get those road signs up.
Levy do not enter to the left coming off 13th as well.
It's counterclockwise one way, and what that does, it allows us to utilize a dedicated walking path for people that walk that daily. Provides it's going to be like Park Street for the walking path. It will have a rumble strip It's gonna be offset, so we'll have roughly 12 feet for driving path and 8 feet for walking path. And there'll be a rumble strip that separates it with a white line. And,
I've had some people ask about the one way. In order to make all that fit, we had to put angled parking.
yes, there'll be angle park.
The angled parking kind of designated, we had to go one way around into those parking spots, obviously, so we did.
Speed limit hasn't changed. It's still, I believe, 10 miles an hour.
Anything else for Dwayne? Okay, Julie.
We had a wonderful booth fest. The weather worked out again. We're on a roll. We have one more thing in the community. So keep doing your rain dances. There were so many kids, we don't even know where they all came from. But we reached out this year on all our events to Warsaw and Kosciuszko County markets. Our Facebook page is actually up 293% for whatever reason, we'll take it. We've really been working hard, so it's paying off as long as the weather works out. We've got holiday stroll. We've got Giving Tuesday coming up in December. We had a nice downtown celebration right before Boo Fest and managed to surprise Doc Hoff with a little bit of something for everything he's done on Main. We attended the Lilly Grant for Art and Culture for Main Street is still in the works. We were hosted by Stephen Ray and his group down in Logansport. We had a nice table full and we're still in the finals. So it was submitted, or the board passed it, they're submitting it, and our region was the first one through. So that should look good somewhere, and Stephen will keep us posted. We have a full board again at RDP, which, as Heather said, is tricky. But they were voted in today, and we have officer elections next month. And lots with Indiana Art Commission.
Holiday strolls, December 5th, is that at 6?
We're not quite. We're talking about going a little earlier. Last year, as soon as it got really dark and a little bit cold, they
Started coming out.
no, they went home.
They got gone.
Oh,
Yeah.
So I
it's
don't
gonna
know.
be dark
We're
by
gonna- we're
5.
not
It'll be dark by 5 by that time. won't it?
That was, I'm waiting till Monday to announce, but it feels like at 7:00, it was over. You turned around and everyone was home, so.
Except for the horse and carriage rides.
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
That
we're
was it.
empty.
And I do want to shorten the road closure for that too. I thought, because that's all of it, that's the horse and carriage ride.
Yeah.
And I don't know why. Also, it's always very cold that weekend. And you're not walking all the way down to the theater, you're just, the main people aren't. So I've got one committee member out of town. She'll be back this weekend, but I was gonna propose starting a little earlier. We have 3 food trucks this year. And I thought that could be fun for after work treats, but elephant ears and stuff. So I will do a press release on that early next week.
Can you talk about the fundraiser?
Oh, yes, May 2nd. I have not talked to the Board of Works or anybody, but May 2nd, 2026, we want to add a spring festival, and we're going to call it May Day. And RDP is already working with the Chamber of Commerce, and it's going to be a huge event. We tell a lot of people no for vendors for our events. If you call me about the art and music festival, I'll say write a song or paint a picture. We don't really want to host all the fundraisers for town, all the team. We root for everybody, but not every event can be for everybody. So in May, we're going for it. We are going to have.
Pending Board of Works approval.
Exactly.
Yes.
We're
Filling
gonna
out your
have
permit.
team
Pending all the things.
He keeps doing
Special
this, he puts it
event
out there, and then you're like, what are we gonna do now? We
Well,
can't.
this is gonna be fun. We're gonna have a team spirit area where the band can be, everyone can be. We're gonna have a local nonprofit area. We are gonna have a Fulton, Kiwanis. We're the county seat. We need to act like it. So we're gonna invite the small towns in and have a little thing. And we're going to have vendors, food truck festival and something called Junk in the Trunk. And I will explain that later, but it's where you have great stuff for sale in your trunk. But May 2nd, May Day,
Pending board
pending
of
Board of
approval.
Works approval. We do have a logo design. So I think our events have been great and
Tiny old time.
and don't-
I guess we gotta do it.
we'll get it.
There's a Board of Works meeting on Friday.
Is that all?
Thank you for working hard and creating new things.
Area plan?
Area plan, I would say that Heather is the star of the next couple months. We are basically, as far as I know, canceling the next two meetings because we don't have any business.
Do in November.
Oh, we do in November, okay.
Position yesterday.
Okay. That just came in, so I jinxed it.
You did it.
Yes, so, but besides that, Heather's working very diligently.
Forgot the fun thing about me. Another fun thing, citywide yard sale.
Oh, yes.
We've had a lot of people want to do that, so we'll get the word out early. We're gonna invite Akron and surrounding, but it'll take, just it's an open invitation to do that, but people love that stuff.
True story. The animal adoption, if you have not seen and you are in need of the service, there's local and wellness clinic. The dates have been released. The closest is 11/16. That is from 12 to 3 p.m. and it's at the Fulton County Animal Center. So if that is the service you need, that is now on the Facebook. So they worked really hard at the pumpkin stand, continue to put fundraisers together and work hard and make things happen. So.
Pedco, Michael?
Just a few things. Hawkins Homestead, the buildings are up, the electricity's in, so they'll start interior work for the winter, I suppose, whatever. The area behind Arbor Woods is being cleared, flattened out, so they can, at some time, whenever they've got that going. Yesterday I was awarded $5,000 from the Wabash Valley, utility through RAMC. That's money that's going to go for video for the website. And I hope to have that done early next year. Now it's going to take a little while. They may have to delay it a little bit. We don't want complete snow through there. 1400 Wabash, we now have two bidders working against each other for that building. So they're working out the problems, their differences to see what's going on, but it's still a go, at least on that particular building. And then finally, tomorrow, I'll be attending the redevelopment commission and pending approval. No, it's just going to be an information session, actually. I'm going to talk to them about establishing a new redevelopment district in the city for restaurant attraction. And it will be sit-down restaurants. And it's a riverfront district is what it is. And it's been on the books about 20 some odd years. We're about the only town in the area that doesn't have one. It's a tool for us to use. And believe it or not, the river will be Mill Creek. So, and I'll be coming back to you sometime in probably December, I hope, and asking you to approve it. And at that time, I'll give you much more detail to this.
Bob?
City Parks back on October 15th of this month, and Dwayne talked about the Belcher Drive. They talked about that as well as the house, possibly some plans for that area, but very much at the beginning stages there. Spent most of the evening looking at playground equipment and all the variations of that and the cost and the safety features of that. Discussed about Landon going to, I called it, become a certified fun guy, which is just safety, and I'm not sure if he got scheduled for that or not, but it's something that they're working on and trying to find a class
It's in December.
in December. They talked about, light up the parks coming up, and I think I have down October 29th. Is it that soon? No?
This December, first part of December, I forget the exact date, but it goes through the month of December.
There's a setup time, isn't there?
Yes.
Then there's the actual event kickoff or something.
And that'll be the second year for that, right? And it just seems like they've come up with a lot of additions and smoothing it out and making it even better than last year.
The ceremony is actually on the 13th at 5 p.m. Looks like setup is December 6th to the 12th. And those lights will run through January 3rd and takedown is on January 4th at 5 p.m. So I don't know if she's got that on the city website yet or not, but we'll try and get that up there soon.
I know it's on, they've had it on Facebook.
Okay.
Site.
Yeah. And I believe this may have been her second meeting, but you got a new member on the park board.
Yes.
Tammy
Tammy
Williams.
Williams.
That's it.
Okay, Mark?
BZA met last week. There was, just one thing on the agenda, pretty normal thing out at the lake. And Council on Aging met yesterday, pretty short meeting, but, no word on the recall on the Chrysler vans. They're still extended and, still no word on that. And, trying to put together a little campaign through Council on Aging, with some local businesses, going to approach about maybe having, them sponsor some things at the center. So, just trying to get the word out about the center and what it does. And, that was basically our discussions yesterday.
Solid waste.
No meeting.
Sidewalk, tree board, and anything?
You can.
Next page.
No, Amy's still going for the, sidewalk part, so it's like, so she gets that up and running. Well, Brian is gonna need for both of us to go.
One thing I can remember on the water board is some kickoff. We had some pre-construction meetings. The building down at the plant is having the finishing touches put on. I was down there yesterday. They got the doors to hang and then the pavement out front. I think it's going to be pretty well completed here. Maybe by the end of the week outside of, don't know when the doors are scheduled to be put in, but looks real good. That's all I have. Does anybody have anything else? You have anything legal you need to share? Anything else, Beth? Okay, need a motion to adjourn. Second. Second it all, say aye.